Hello, hi, and how are you doing? And welcome back to my channel in this case. Look, I've got to be honest, I'm recording this Tuesday, just gone about 7 or 8 o'clock, I believe it is. Let's have a look. 8:06 is the exact minute right there, and as I'm sure you can all work out exactly what that means, football has triumphed, everyone has pulled together, and every single greedy pig who just wanted a few extra million, a few extra billion, and to turn our sport into a theatre production or a one-off event here, there and everywhere around the world has been told well and truly to get back in their hole and get the hell out of our clubs and the hell out of our leagues around Europe. To every single person in football, every single person who's big in the community, fair play for standing up, fair play for making your voices heard, because to say that they're doing this because of anything else is rubbish. At the end of the day, they got told exactly what everyone thinks about it. And here's a tip. Next time you want to do something in not just football, but anything, maybe consult the people it affects. The people that are going to do exactly what fans did. And fair play to Chelsea fans. Fair play to everyone involved in the Chelsea protest. At the end of the day, stopping a bus and parking the bus seems to be a good tactic. And it worked well and truly to make our point well and truly heard. But that's not what this video is about. This video is actually going to be about what would have been the biggest news yesterday. But ultimately, it did get trumped by some of the most insane chaos that was yesterday. But we'll leave that, and I think it will be fair to say there'll be a part 2 about the ESL coming soon. Now, let's talk about Mr. Mourinho. At the end of the day, is anyone really surprised that he was fired? I don't think so. I think it was always a question about when, and to be honest, if Tottenham could afford it. And I think most people can agree Tottenham felt like they would have been able to afford it if the Super League was a thing. Could be very interesting in the future to see what happens with that now. Anyway, realistically, it didn't quite work out. The first time in Mourinho's career that he will now leave a club or be fired from a club without winning a trophy. I understand some people would say that if Tottenham win this weekend against Man City, as probably quite unlikely as it will be though, it should still be his trophy, but realistically it's not. It will never go down as his, and ultimately, if someone else is in charge and setting the tactics, it'd be unfair to them to turn around and take away the fact that they did get it over the line. What are my thoughts on it? Again, as I say, I think at the end of the day, it was when, not if. When you blow such a comfortable lead against a Eastern European team who, not be funny at the time, had their manager in prison, you're probably not going to make it very far in any English top 6 team. And to be fair, he still made it a good few games. Tottenham aren't that far outside the Premier League top 4, but realistically they seem to still be stifling. Would it have been different if they'd beaten Everton? I don't think so. I think it was still coming. I think they were ultimately waiting for a time where they could at least justify the 30 million reported payout fee to get rid of Mourinho. And by God, he must be sitting at home with his feet up laughing. But let's turn our attention to Tottenham, because I don't want to just rip into them, as tempting as it would be with everything that happened with them trying to run off into the sunset for multi-billion pound deals. What is going to go on with Tottenham now? Well, we've got a few different faces that potentially are going to be coming in and filling those boots, but it seems like Ryan Mason is going to be given at least a good few games, potentially the rest of the season, to see it out. That would make sense, to at least just get over the line and then see what happens. It seems like Julian Nagelsmann is going to be the front runner, the favourite, but there's also a lot of clubs that have been trying to stump up his signature for a long time, so it's not going to be uncontested. He's also probably not going to come for very cheap. As far as I'm aware, he's still got a good couple of years left on his contract with Leipzig. He's got a good thing out there, good project, very well backed, and quite a stable team when it comes to the expectations from him. Would it be the right sort of thing for him? I think it'd be going back to what Tottenham love, attacking football, young players, giving it a proper go. He's definitely a very, very good fit for it. Will they land him? There's a few other names that I find interesting that have been bandied around about it. Scott Parker, for example, fellow London lad, someone who has history with the club as a player and has been showing a lot of improvement with Fulham. He definitely learnt a lot with his first season. He had a very, very good, solid championship campaign. And all right, they're struggling this year, most likely going to go down. But when they were really struggling at the start of the season, he learnt his lessons and they've looked a lot more competitive. Is it maybe his time to be given a higher job? There's another case for Steven Gerrard that's come up. I think he's quite enjoying Rangers. I think he could easily have a couple seasons out there as an absolute legend as far as they're going to be concerned, having won the 55th title in in a decade as well since their last title. Just learning his craft and continuing to settle into the career fully before maybe venturing his way down south. The one I find interesting would be Brendan Rodgers. I think it's potentially doable if they don't land Nagelsmann and if they wait until the end of the season. I think if Leicester maybe squeeze a 4th place, which they seem to not be too solid on, or potentially lift an FA Cup, I don't think you've got high hell in seeing Brendan Rodgers going anywhere. He's got a fantastic project there. He'll be extremely well supported by the fans and by the club. And I wouldn't blame him for staying. I don't think anyone would. I think people would be confused as to why he was leaving. But if any of those things fall through, if they don't make 4th, if they don't lift the FA Cup, I wouldn't see him as being a bad shout. He's managed top 6 clubs before. All right, they didn't quite get the title that Tottenham are craving when it comes to his time at Liverpool. But he went away to Celtic, very much recouped, proved his salt again. And he's come down to Leicester and he's done a fantastic job ever since. And it's, not impossible to say that he could very well be a good fit for Tottenham Hotspur. We'll have to see when it comes to the management of Tottenham. And I look forward to being able to cover the potentials of that when it happens. But, of course, this video is about Mourinho. And it's not just about him being fired, as though that is very simple in terms of his coverage. Expected. But what next? Now, the talk prior to him starting his job at Tottenham, and when he left his job at Man United, and even when he left Chelsea a good few years ago, was very much that his way of football has died. And that if he can't adapt, he will not have a place. Now, is that true? I think it's true of the English League. I think that's now been unfortunately proven. I don't think it is ever really going to work. I can't envisage a club right now as well in the top 6 that's going to put a punt on an extremely expensive man like Mourinho and his staffing team to prove whether it works or not. But could it work elsewhere? For example, Serie A is very, very famous for being very technically focused, very defence focused. They're very good at keeping clean sheets, very good at passing the ball around and keeping control of possession. Could that work? Could there be a squad out there right now where they have the right sort of players that would buy into a Mourinho style with a couple of tweaks here or there? Could be a good Mourinho team. Potentially. But the biggest problem with that is those big clubs that could afford him and could want him, they're all pretty settled with their managers. The other option a lot of people have been speaking about is a return home, be it the Portugal national team, potentially. Could I see Mourinho in national football? Maybe, but I still don't think of Portugal. As much as it's his own nation, passion and love, for that, I'm sure. I just wonder if that's the right sort of players, the right sort of team, whether they would be hindered under a Mourinho style of football. Or the Portuguese league. Well, we all know what he did with Porto. It kicked off one of the most amazing management careers out there. Again, it's quite a settled league. It looks like there's not really one team that I could look out that would be crying for Mourinho to come in. And again, right now, the biggest problem that I think he will find is he's expensive. Not just in the case of paying him, but bringing in all his staffing team that he insists on working with, and also making sure that he has a 10 to 30 to 50 million pound payoff clause should you ever want to get rid of him early. The way I see it going is we will probably see Mourinho on our Sky Sports screens, on his Instagram, and in and around media for a good few months, maybe even a year or two. I think he needs a good rest, and I think he will very much enjoy being a little bit of the limelight, giving his analysis when it comes to football, instead of potentially being a manager for a little while. But I think he will be back in football management. And I think it's too easy for us to turn around, or for some people to turn around and say that his way of football is dead and Tottenham was his last chance. He is still a proven winner. He just needs that team again that really buys into it, and a situation where he can get those players that work for him. And it may very well mean a change of league or a real change of team level for him to find that. But what do you think? What did you think about Mourinho's time at Tottenham? What did you think about them selling their soul to the devil almost? At the end of the day, it's not really been a very Tottenham-esque 17 months. I do look forward to bringing back some Tottenham football, a little bit more attacking and free flow. It'd be nice to see Dele Alli get off his backside and actually play some football, because it's very, very good to watch when he's on it. What do you think about Mourinho's future as well? I want to know. I think most people, I'm sure, will say it's dead, don't want to see it. But there might be some clubs out there that maybe will take a punt. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening. If you're watching this tonight, enjoy it celebrating the fact that this game is ours. It will always be the fans' game. And I look forward to having many, 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 many more videos made about the multitude of different stories in the near future. Thank you for your time. Peace out.